obviously, the press conference, we've been talking a lot about it today. We were talking a lot about the news breaking a couple of days ago in terms of what came out of this. And Noodles just brought it up. The meaning behind this and the messaging towards Auston. Can you take us through that? Like, what did you want him to take from this when it was told to him, you're the new captain of the Maple Leafs?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great day. And listen, there's a different responsibility. I don't want to overblow it with the wording but there is a weight that comes along with wearing the C and some responsibility. But as we've talked through this process, the one thing, that Auston knows and we've reiterated to him is, Auston doesn't need to change. This isn't something that he's going to wake up tomorrow and has to be a different guy. We felt it was the right time for this because of what Auston is and what he's becoming and what he's become. And to me, we're, even another step that he can take. And, it just became more evident to me. Like I said, I've had a chance to, watch all these guys, Auston and the group, as an outsider for many years. And it's now just over a year that I'm sort of behind the curtain with them. And the growth that I've seen over the course of the year, the way people follow him, the respect that he has, the way he really just goes about his business. I said in the press conference today, you all get to see, really Auston from 7 to 9:30 on game nights. What the public doesn't get to see is, the other 22 hours in the day and how he prepares and how he looks after himself and, the presence he has in a room. And today was really that step to sort of turn things over to him that he can, expand his wings, if you will, a little bit and really kind of officially lead the group. And that's not to say that John wasn't or anybody else wasn't, or that the responsibility is solely on his shoulders. But I just felt in talking, internally with our group and talking with John and talking with Auston throughout this process, it was the right time, to make this official. And we're happy. And I thought it's a great day. And now we move forward.
You've spoken here about, the symbols that you've picked up on, the things that you've seen behind the curtain. Obviously, you had these conversations with John, and then John revealed today that he was the one that actually called Auston and said, hey, this is the way it's going to go. And Auston said he had chills and he's excited for it. But at any point over the previous 12 months since you've been working with Auston, or even prior to you showing up, are you aware of him giving off any indication that this was something that he wanted? Like, was this something that he wanted the opportunity at some point to be the captain of the Maple Leafs?
Well, you know what, Bryan? I wouldn't say he came and sat in my office and said, "Look, I want to be the captain." I think he's such a respectful person that that's not anything he would do, and possibly show that there's stepping on John's toes, but. Part of this process as you go through it is when you have that conversation and say, hey, here's what we're thinking. At that time, he really embraced it. Like he said, yeah, I'm ready and I want this. It's not symbolic. It's not just, okay, I'll put a letter on my jersey. He understood the responsibility and in the most respectful way. And you guys have gotten to know Auston. He's a very respectful young man. He wanted to make sure John was okay with this and wanted to make sure that, that this was something that John's comfortable with. But he really embraced it and feels, he's ready to take that step. He's ready for that responsibility. He's ready for the things that go along with it. And this is a process, right? We all sometimes get sick of that word, but it truly is. And, he's not on this island by himself. He's surrounded, by a lot of guys they're all sorts of different leaders in their own right, and I think the fact that John, like, to me, John showed the type of leader he was, probably in such a spectacular way today by passing this on. And it wasn't, John wasn't going kicking and screaming or us dragging him to this decision. He understood it, and he was fully on board. And I think that's just only going to help. And like I said, John's not going to change, and he's still going to lead in his way. But I think he's going to be a great voice for Auston. But as we went through this process, Auston not only was ready, but really accepting and wanting the responsibility.
Tree, was important. I think Bryan and I were talking in the 4:00 hour. I think everything today was perfect. The way John Tavares handled himself, the way Auston handled himself. We had Mark Masters on earlier, and he said, everybody in the room it was a momentous occasion. Like, it was very positive. Did you guys have to think about the timing of announcing this? Because, if you announce it and maybe John comes maybe a little premature at the end of the season, then it looks in a negative light instead of him saying, it's time. We're giving the best player, one of the best players on the planet, an opportunity here to be the captain of a storied franchise. Like, it seems like the timing is perfect to lead up to the season. Was that given a lot of thought? Was it just something that you guys had to come up with to lead into the season?
Yeah, you know what, Noodles? It a little bit of both. Like, we started the process after the season ended, and John and I had a conversation that led into more conversations, and as we were going down this path, I thought the timing was important, right? Quite frankly, we didn't want to, we wanted to get this done far enough away from camp that it can stand on its own, and once we get to camp, it's time to get to business, right? We got work to get done. So there was a process that we, as we went through it and had these discussions and made this determination. Then there's it takes a little bit of time to put it all together and pick the date and all that sort of stuff. But to your first point, listen, we've all been around, and sometimes there's things that are done and everybody's putting on a brave face. This was truly, the passing of the torch, which both men were very comfortable with. And listen, John's a proud man, and I've got a lot of respect for him, how he goes about his business and the way he goes about his work and how dialed in he is in his preparation. And, but he's a smart guy. And I can tell you, it was, we were joking, it's like a peaceful transfer of power. And it truly was. But, the biggest thing as we were going through this was you have to give it the proper time to go through it properly, which we did. And then, some people are saying, well, in the middle of the summer, you're doing this stuff. We wanted it, once you've made the decision, once everybody's, comfortable, we wanted it outside of the camp, because we just, let's deal with this now, and it'll be a story here for a little bit. And, but once we get into camp, we get on with the business at hand, and not a lot, excuse me, guys, is changing. Like, this is, like I said, Auston's not waking up to be a different person tomorrow, nor is John. Like I said, John's a big part of our leadership group. He's going to continue to be. But I think this allows us to take care of this piece of business here today, and allows us, to continue starting tomorrow again, back to preparations for training camp in the season.